Who is this certification for? Well, it's probably for you, to be honest, because there are many corporations and many organizations who are trying to find ways to implement their own AI ML opportunity within their organization. Or if you're trying to get into the AI ML space, this is a great certification to kickstart your career. The data engineer certification's in beta, so you have until January 12th of 2024 in order to take the exam. The exam cost right now is going to be $75, so it's half the price. Otherwise, it will go up once it's in full general availability. Unfortunately, we are going to be losing the AWS Data Analytics Specialty Cert. Well, the new one on the block is going to be the Data Engineer Associate. Honestly, with some of these changes, my mind goes to thinking that since they're retiring the Data Analytics Specialty certification and they're beefing up the Associate certification a little bit, they're either going to add a professional or they're trying to improve the baseline or make the baseline a little bit more challenging for the associate certifications going forward. So let's unpack the associate certs real quick. The SysOps, developer, and the solutions architect are all going to be 65 questions, multiple choice, multiple response. Then the duration is going to be about 130 minutes long. The data engineer is going to be 170 minutes long, multiple choice, multiple response, but it's going to be 85 questions long. The first domain in this certification is going to be focused on data ingestion and transformation. It's going to consume about 34% of the domain or of the certification. So you're going to need to understand how all these different services are going to interact with each other and the life cycle of the data transactions and pipeline. Data store management is domain number 2. This is going to be 26% of the exam. It's going to focus in on data stores and how you're going to actually transform the data. You're going to want to understand the RDS services, the DynamoDBs, the Redshift, all the different data lakes, or just how you're going to be storing it, to the transitions that are going to be taking place in the massaging of the data. So if you have an ETL or if you have any sort of pipeline that's taking place, how is that data going to be massaged in order to work into the correct schema? So you may use AWS Glue, for example. So there are going to be a handful of different services that you're going to need to understand, or at least the concept of the life cycles. So some of the common similarities between the two certifications are going to be really focused on the data and how you're processing it to be efficient in order to work with other services. Domain number 3 is going to be focused on data operations and support, which is going to be about 22% of the exam topics. In comparison, the processing for data analytics was around 24% of the exam. The data operations and support is going to focus in on the data processing. So there'll be automation. You're also going to be looking at AWS Glue a little bit more in depth. Then there's also AWS AMR and also Amazon Redshift. So those are some of the services that you'll be looking at. From those services, you're going to need to know how they're going to connect to something that's like Amazon Athena and also QuickSight. So you're going to be able to display that and transform that data into something that's readable to the client. To ensure the data stays clean, you need to set up policies with AWS Data Brew. So like with the data analytics and the data engineer, they're really wanting to focus on the ETL and the pipelines and the processing and how everything is going to be interconnected with each other. Then how are you going to be able to process that and automate it and make sure that it can scale and grow with the adaptation to the ingest set of data? So one of the bigger differences between the analytics and then also the data engineer is going to be for the domain 4, which is for the data engineer is focused on security and governance. This will be about 18% of the exam topics. And likewise for the analytics, it's going to be security, but that was going to be domain 5, and it's going to be about 18% as well. They really want you to understand AWS Secrets Manager, IAM, understanding how all the things are going to interconnect and the data pipeline can stay secure throughout from the beginning of the ingestion to the end process for the client. The data analytics between domain 4 and 5 were really meshed into 3 and 4 for the data engineer. So a lot of those topics are really overlapping each other or very similar or cross-referencing each other. The data engineer certification is going to be great for those who are looking to get into the AI/ML space or at least help their organization drive forward a lot of the processes improvements that they're looking to do with AI. Thank you for your time, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.